executive interview series. I'm Ginger Conlon, a contributing editor to Martech Advisor. And joining us today is Andrea Ward, who is CMO of Magento. Welcome, Andrea.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here with us because we are going to talk about trends and opportunities with personalized multi-channel commerce. But before we jump into that, let's briefly start by introducing Magento. In a sentence, what is Magento and what makes it unique?
Well, Magento is the largest and most flexible commerce platform in terms of global reach, popularity among merchants, development community, and partners. And what makes it unique is that no other platforms supports the breadth of size, business model, and innovation that Magento can. And considering the changes in commerce and digital commerce, it's very important to our merchants.
Absolutely. So let's define commerce because I feel like it's one of those terms where it may seem obvious, but it's really going through an evolution. So, how do you define it?
Well, in general, commerce is really about the activity of buying and selling on a large scale. And what that means in the digital world is everything from merchandising to the actual activity of the experience of the shopping cart to fulfillment of those orders, attracting people into that commerce process. So, on a digital scale, it really has changed because of the advent of digital. And what that's meant for companies is it's allowed them to really expand their businesses, reach customers in compelling and different ways. So it's really a quick and changing space right now, and it's very exciting to see what our customers are doing with the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what type of improvements can marketers expect in terms of sales and conversions and things like that when they add in that personalized aspect?
Yeah, that's a great question. So before I get into kind of the benefits, let me talk a little bit about that impact that multi-channel personalization is having on the businesses of some of our customers. So one way that it's having an impact is it's giving a better opportunity to connect that online and offline experience. So an example I would use for that is we have a customer in Latin America that sells glasses, and they traditionally sold out of the store. And by offering the digital element to that in-store experience, it allowed them to do a couple of things. First of all, people could shop online, pick up in store. They could go to the store. If they didn't have a frame they liked, they could also go online. They could manage their inventory better so that they could offer more frames. They could deliver immediately to the customer. So that's one way, kind of connecting that online and offline experience. Another way is just the way companies are now selling to consumers. So we have a company in the UK that had a real passion around delivering healthy snacks to people. They were tired of seeing the only snacks available to them were things that are unhealthy, things that they could grab. So they created a subscription business where people could sign up for weekly snack packets, and they kind of it started out by surprising customers. They could say did they want them every day? Did they want it 3 times a week? And being online gave them a chance to also give a feedback channel for their customers. So they started out by surprising them with weekly snack packets. Customers could go back in, say what they liked, they didn't like, and they would adjust their weekly subscription based on what they loved. Another one is one of our customers was a huge airport that offered duty-free shopping, and they changed that kind of mall-like duty-free shopping experience to almost a personal shopping experience by offering them a mobile buying experience on the way to the airport. So I don't know about you, I travel a lot in my job, and my family is always expecting me to bring home a gift for my husband, my son, my daughter. Everybody wants something different. So I could order, go online, do my shopping online in the cab on the way to the airport and have my bag of goodies waiting for me at the gate. So delivering those kinds of experiences is really what digital commerce has done for different businesses of all different sizes. And what we're seeing are really great results. I mean, you're seeing things like double the conversion rates, increase in purchase frequency of up to 20%, which and it can result in 10% increase in revenues. Also, things like just reducing attrition and reduce. We all know that existing customers are almost more valuable to us than getting a new customer. So. 5% decrease in attrition can mean profits increase by 25 to 85%. So, not only are you able to kind of create new relationships, create compelling experiences, but it delivers real business value.
Wow, those are some great examples. So let's talk about that a little bit. B2B buyers more often than ever before take their experiences and their expectations as consumers and apply those to their B2B commerce experiences and expectations. So how can marketers use technology to address this?
That's a really good question. And actually, we're seeing the largest growth now in commerce around B2B. And I think that's because it's a newer concept in B2B. And even in the way that we're organized, you think about businesses, who really owns commerce in the organization? Is it marketing? Is it IT? Is it sales? And I think that's one of the questions when we're talking to our B2B buyers, we find is part of the thing that companies need to work out before they decide on how they're going to use commerce. Now, having said that, B2B businesses can get a lot of value from implementing commerce within their business. So first of all, it gives them an opportunity to make sales more efficient. So through online commerce, you can streamline the selling process by making even the sales interaction with their consumers more engaging. You can showcase products more effectively. You can do a lot of the transactions more efficiently. You can, stop some of the back and forth that has to happen, between the client and the sales team by just being able to manage a lot of that digitally. That's number one. Number two is there are a lot of parts of the business that is underserved by traditional B2B buying and selling processes. A good example is, parts for products that maybe have been sold a long time ago, being able to offer those through a digital experience rather than having that continue to be sold through a sales team that might not be familiar with an older circumstance. And then just things like managing, price lists for specific consumers and can be handled so much more effectively through modern commerce systems. So, again, I think one of the biggest challenges for B2B is figuring out, who owns the commerce systems that might drive different priorities within the B2B organization, but we are starting to see a lot more adoption of that. And in fact, in our newest product release, B2B capabilities built in was one of our most significant advancements. Right. And some of the things you talked about earlier, that desire for immediacy, personalization, a frictionless buying process, it's something that's really engaging. We as consumers expect that now from our digital experiences, and that's definitely being brought into the B2B workplace. So, bringing those types of attributes into that buying process is definitely going to be a benefit for B2B as well.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about data, because every marketer wants to talk about data. What kind of data do marketers need to make personalization in that multi-channel commerce environment not only a reality, but most effective?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same types of data that we use for that engagement process is very relevant to the buying process as well. So a lot of the work we as marketers have done around that, understanding the buyer journey, understanding the basic attributes of the individual that you're engaging with, the behaviors that they're exhibiting, what are the things that are influencing them, are the same things that you're going to want to know to deliver a great commerce experience. So pairing that though with great content and then also recommendations, understanding how you can use that data to drive great recommendations around purchases or bundles. I think that's where you take it to the next step. It's not just around what is the best content for engagement, but how do you then bring that into the product experience and selling experience? And not only from bundling, but even thinking about the way that you price, you sell, the business models. Do you move to more of a subscription model around some of your arts? I think it gives marketers a great way to think about the overall go to market in a different way. But I would say, in terms of the type of data, again, buying history, it's all the same sorts of things that you're gathering to know your customer better and to create engaging experiences.
Right, makes sense. And you mentioned influence, which makes me think about social, of course, which also makes me think about mobile because those are two hot areas, of course, right now. So, how can marketers weave those two touch points better into the commerce mix?
Yeah. Well, I think social for a long time has been really popular around followers, recommendations, things like that. But now more and more we're seeing advertising slide into the mix, and driving that to a transaction is, I think, where you're starting to see marketers being able to attribute real revenue to those activities. So being able to bring commerce into that social experience, I think, is something that people should really consider, because again, people that you understand what they want, what they want to experience. You're able to give them some sort of immediate gratification by having that interaction through social. In terms of mobile, for me personally, that is some of kind of the most exciting change that I'm seeing, because you're able to really be where your consumer is at all times. And Big Bus Tours is a customer of ours. They're very well known. How many of us haven't been to a big city and seen folks riding around on the Big Bus Tours? And now with mobile being with them, even when they're on the bus, they're able to also offer other activities, sites. They're almost like a destination entertainment company, and it's really enabled them to think more broadly around the types of services that they can sell, and how to bundle them, how to be more relevant to the types of customers that they're engaging with. So I think mobile is definitely one of those drivers with our customers, and even thinking about how you connect that mobile experience to an in-store experience gives the marketer all sorts of new opportunities to engage and drive revenue.
What about challenges? What are a couple of the main challenges that you're seeing, and what's your advice for overcoming those challenges?
Yeah, I'm going to say that the data challenges, I think, continue to be with us marketers. I think conceptually we know that it's important to connect all of those pieces of data, but being able to identify that data to the same customer across those different channels can be a little bit challenging. So I would say that marketers are on the right direction to make that a priority to solve, but I still think most businesses have a long way to go. The other thing is just traditional business models. So from a multi-channel perspective, a lot of those channels grew up in silos. So the businesses can be focused on an in-store experience or a web experience or a social experience. And having the commitment from a company to really look above that and think about how you connect all of those different channels is still a challenge. Because there's still a lot of education around that. Again, a lot of these businesses are really entrenched in those business models, and those silos tend to be hard to break down.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of change management necessary.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up with a look forward. What's coming that you're excited about in two areas, and they may actually overlap? One is the market in general. Any trend or tool that you're excited about, and also within Magento, anything new coming up? Any features or upgrades that we should know about?
Yeah, so I mean, I think some of the trends that I really am excited about are the things that both benefit customers but create new business opportunities, right? So I think
Hmm.
some of the trends that we hear about can, first of all, seem gimmicky, or there is some question around how what the value is really for the consumer, right? There might be some value for the business, but really for the consumer. And so for me, the things I get excited about is when those two things marry. So, um, you know, things like the subscription idea for non-traditional subscription businesses is something that I think is super cool. The Internet of Things trend where there's a direct connection to the customer. So, we have a customer that's selling subscription cosmetics. We talked about the subscription snacks earlier. I think those are very, very cool and interesting. Also, the Internet of Things. We have baby Nestle, where they know the age of your child and can adjust the formula for you. So it gives you one less thing to worry about. I think that's where it's exciting, because
Hmm.
customers are really getting the value out of the thing with it, and it with a lot less effort. For me at Magento, one of the new technologies that we're starting to develop is around progressive web apps. And the way I think about that is, right now marketers are creating an app strategy that is in some way sometimes disconnected from a lot of the rest of the digital strategy. And progressive web apps gives you an app experience, but it's within your browser. So it allows you to connect more seamlessly to your web experience and other digital experiences. So that's one thing that I'm really excited about coming up in our technology. And, I think, a lot of the, folks like in Google and we're developing partnerships with folks like Google to help progress that very quickly. And I think that's going to be coming within the next year.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for all of the great information and insight and advice. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too. Thanks again for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everyone who joined us today, and just say visit Martech Advisors YouTube channel for more executive interviews. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe. And thanks again for joining us.